reports that the Baluchis have been given the latest weapons which the USA Army had left behind in Afghanistan. One would remember that weapons worth about $4 to $5 billion were left behind by USA Army when they ran away from Afghanistan. So these weapons are being given there. So arms is not an issue, ammunition is not an issue, recruitment is not an issue, leadership is good, Pakistani army is suffering casualties. So therefore, one can only forecast that the level of violence in the coming days is only going to increase not only in Balochistan but also in Waziristan, thereby creating serious problems for Pakistani economy also.
Now, I think what has happened in Balochistan in the last few days is the most significant internal security challenge to the state of Pakistan. Now, we all know that as far as Balochistan is concerned, there has been a low-level insurgency which has been going on and off since 1948.
Our sympathies go inevitably, spontaneously to the bereaved families, whether they are militants or train passengers, after all, fellow human beings. But we should also note that the Baluchi Liberation Front or forces are very strong and very active, and the Pakistan government in Islamabad has not so far entered into any consultations with them.
As it is, Pakistani economy is in doldrums. Also the CPEC corridor and the CPEC projects all are in doldrums. So therefore, Pakistan is in deep trouble both on the security front as well as on the economic front.
How do you see India's perspective these activities happening in
Pakistan has been accusing once in a while that the Baluchis are being funded by India, which is not the case. Baluchis are getting all their arms from Afghanistan, and there has been no proof that Pakistan has ever given of an Indian help being caught helping the Baluchis. However, Balochistan does a lot of refugees run away from Balochistan and Waziristan, but they are too far away from the Indian borders. So these refugees who run away to avoid atrocities of Pakistani army go either towards Iran or they go towards Afghanistan. To that extent, India will not be affected. But Pakistan, which always tries to use India and to take away the attention of local people from the internal situation in Pakistan, may carry out few things which will be against India, thereby uniting the Pakistani population. Presently, there are no terror attacks which are taking place either in even in the state of Kashmir, like the terror attacks in which security forces are being killed, or terror attacks where bomb blasts are taking place. But the method which Pakistan is using is narco-terrorism. In large numbers, it is sending drones to the state of Punjab, also in the international border in Rajasthan. A hell of a lot of drugs are coming into India, thereby fueling narco-terrorism. Not only that, in addition to that, even from the seaside in the Arabian Sea, last year, drugs worth about 30,000 crores have been intercepted by the security agencies. Obviously, drugs more than that quantity have obviously infiltrated into India. So Pakistan is using different methods by which to stop, reduce the economic potential of India, by which to take a revenge on India. But what we need to do is we need to keep on analyzing various threats that come from Pakistan and take countermeasures. We'll have to improve our coastal security. The BSF will have to be more vigilant on the international border. We will have to shoot all the drones that are coming from across. We'll have to carry out intelligence-based operation so that narcotics does not enter this country, etc. So we have to keep on evaluating various methods which Pakistani army uses to carry out operation against India, and thereafter evolve countermeasures so that we can protect our land borders as well as sea borders.
Then it went on to 1952, there was another bout in 60s, then 73, 74, there was another one. And this is the latest round of insurgency. which has lasted for more than a decade and it is still going on. Now, for the first time, a train has been hijacked. It has taken 48 hours for the Pakistan military to free the hostages who were remaining at very heavy casualties. The figures given by the Pakistan military are different to what is given by the Baloch Liberation Army, so those figures can be contested. But the central point remains. What has happened has changed the very nature and complexity of the conflict which is taking place in Afghanistan. Earlier, we had a very serious situation some years back when the army public school in Pakistan was attacked and a large number of children were killed. This is more significant than even that, because while that was an isolated incident, this is internal. It is going to impact the Pakistani economy in a manner which is unforeseen till date. So I think the implications are going to, what has happened, of course, is over now. The Pakistanis have restored the situation. But its long-term impact is going to be very severe. One, it has united the people of Balochistan against the Pakistani state. Number two, it has shown up the incompetence of the Pakistani intelligence services. Number three, the fact that it took the Pakistan military 48 hours to address a situation which was localized at one point doesn't speak good of the military skills. I think what is going to happen now is the insurgency in Balochistan is going to gather momentum. I do not think the Pakistani state has the capacity or the will to be able to defeat this insurgency militarily. Ultimately, if they want peace, it is my view that the Pakistani political establishment will have to get the people of Balochistan on the table and hammer out a treaty with them which will be acceptable to the people of Balochistan, by which their economic, social and political exploitation, which has carried on for many, many decades now, that has to go.
The Balochi Liberation Front has been using violence. The Pakistan government has been countering it with violence. Of course, the state is superior in resorting to violence, but that doesn't help. And also, the local population has grievances against what the Chinese are doing there, the so-called corridor, So all this is rather complex, and we in India should not take any, joy, from this. That would be the wrong approach. As I said, we should all be distressed. But let us hope that the Pakistan leadership, by that I mean mainly the military leadership, will learn the right lesson and act accordingly.
Sir, there's also a question about always the Pakistan army and the territory things and all. So it will happen in Pakistan train. That is also a very big question, and in their state and from their people.
Yes, in other words, the government in Pakistan, by which I mean not only the civilian government but also the military, because let's look at it holistically. Even when there is a civilian government, the military has a big say in policy making, So the civilian government and the military leadership should have engaged in proper talks with the Balochis. You cannot always resort to superior violence and solve problems. Thank you.
देखिए, अभी पाकिस्तान सरकार की रिपोर्ट आई है कि जो ऑपरेशन उन्होंने लॉन्च किया था, जो ट्रेन हाईजैक थी, वो अभी कंप्लीट हुआ है, जिसमें उनके काफी सारे सोल्जर्स मारे गए हैं, काफी सारे जो अपने होस्टेजेस, उसमें से 25 या 26 मारे गए हैं, और जितने दहशतवादी वहां पे थे वो पूरे के पूरे 25 या 26 का नंबर है वो भी मारे गए हैं और ये कहते हैं कि ये ऑपरेशन सक्सेसफुल हो गया है। लेकिन क्या इससे बलूचिस्तान में जो गड़बड़ चल रही है ये खत्म होगी? तो इसका शॉर्ट आंसर है कि नहीं, क्योंकि अगर आप इतिहास देखें पिछले कुछ महीनों का और पिछले कुछ सालों का, ये जो बलूची जो हमले हैं ये पाकिस्तान के बलूचिस्तान प्रांत में, खास तो चाइना पाकिस्तान इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर के ऊपर ये बढ़ रहे हैं। लेवल ऑफ वायलेंस काफी सारी बढ़ी हुई है। और ये हमले किसके ऊपर हो रहे हैं? तो ये हमले जो पाकिस्तान के सैनिक हैं उनके ऊपर हो रहा है, पाकिस्तान के जो सैनिकी पोस्ट है उसके ऊपर हो रहा है, जो अर्धसैनिक दल है फ्रंटियर कोर उनके ऊपर हो रहा है, जो प्रोजेक्ट्स अलग अलग काम कर रहे हैं इस रास्ते के ऊपर उनके ऊपर हो रहा है, जो चाइनीज सिटीजन्स वहां पे आते हैं काम करने के लिए प्रोजेक्ट्स के ऊपर, उनके ऊपर हमले हो रहे हैं। और अगर आप उसकी स्टैटिस्टिकल डेटा देखें तो ये जो फिगर्स है ये काफी बड़ी है और इसके खिलाफ पाकिस्तानी जो आर्मी है ये एंटी टेररिस्ट ऑपरेशन कर रही है, लेकिन जो कामयाबी उनको मिलनी चाहिए वो नहीं मिल रही है। मैं आपको एक ही एग्जांपल दूं कि पहले ट्रेडिशनली 85% ऑफ पाकिस्तानी आर्मी ये इंडिया पाकिस्तान बॉर्डर के ऊपर तैनात होती थी, लेकिन अभी मोर देन 50% जो है ये बलूचिस्तान और खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में एंटी टेररिस्ट ऑपरेशन कर रहे हैं। यानी कि उनके जो प्रॉब्लम्स है इतनी ज्यादा है कि 50% से ज्यादा आर्मी की ताकत इसके ऊपर खर्चा हो रही है और इसके बावजूद इस रोड को वो प्रोटेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। ऑलमोस्ट $60 बिलियन की जो इन्वेस्टमेंट चाइना ने की हुई है सीपेक कॉरिडोर के ऊपर, उसमें से जो रिटर्न है बिल्कुल जीरो है। और इतना ही नहीं, अभी सबसे बड़ी खबर यह है कि बलूचिस्तान आर्मी तो प्रॉब्लम कर ही रही है, इसके सिवाय जो खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में जो तहरीक तालिबान पाकिस्तान है वो जो खैबर पख्तूनख्वा को आजाद करके वो चाहते हैं कि वो अफगानिस्तान में शामिल हो, वो भी बलूचिस्तान लिबरेशन आर्मी के साथ काम कर रहे हैं। बलूची रिबेल के जो अलग अलग ग्रुप्स है ये इकट्ठे हो गए और ये जो बलूची पाकिस्तान के अंदर है, कुछ बलूची ईरान के अंदर है, कुछ बलूची ये अफगानिस्तान के अंदर है, तो ये एक ग्रेटर बलूचिस्तान की मांग कर रहे हैं। तो इसलिए ऐसे हम मानते हैं कि आने वाले दिनों में ये जो हमले हैं ये बढ़ते ही रहेंगे। पाकिस्तान आर्मी की जो क्षमता है एंटी टेररिस्ट ऑपरेशन करने की ये काफी कम है। और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि ये जो दहशतवादी अभियान ये पाकिस्तानी आर्मी करती है इसमें वो एरिया वेपन्स का इस्तेमाल करती है, यानी कि आर्टिलरी यानी तोपखाना, जिसमें काफी सारे आजू बाजू के सिविलियंस मारे जाते हैं, हेलीकॉप्टर गनशिप्स या एयरफोर्स के विमानों से हाइट्स के ऊपर हमला। तो इससे क्या होता है, एक आध दो बलूची जो दहशतवादी है या लिबरेशन वाले हैं वो तो मारे जाते हैं, लेकिन उनके सिवाय जो आजू बाजू में रहने वाले काफी सारे सिविलियंस हैं उनको काफी चोट आती है, वो काफी संख्या में मारे जाते हैं। और लास्ट में यह है कि जिसे भी पाकिस्तानी आर्मी सस्पेक्ट करती है कि यह कुछ गड़बड़ कर रहे हैं तो उनको वो उठा लेते हैं। आज तक हजारों बलूची युवक को उठाया गया है, उसमें से हंड्रेड्स ऑफ युवकों को मारा गया है, उनकी लाशें भी कभी मिली नहीं है और ये कायम के अपने फैमिली से गायब हो गए हैं। तो बलूचियों के जो ह्यूमन राइट्स है इसके ऊपर काफी सारा अत्याचार हो रहा है और जिससे पूरी की पूरी बलूचिस्तान की संख्या जो 2 करोड़ के आसपास होगी ये पाकिस्तान आर्मी के खिलाफ है। खैबर पख्तूनख्वा की जनता जो है वो पाकिस्तानी आर्मी के खिलाफ है और ये दोनों हाथ मिला रहे हैं। तो इसलिए आने वाले दिनों में ये जो ऑपरेशन बलूची करेंगे या तहरीक तालिबान पाकिस्तान करेगा ये बढ़ने वाला ही है और पाकिस्तान के अंदर जो हिंसाचार हो रहा है वो और बढ़ रहा है, जिससे पाकिस्तानी इकोनॉमी जो है एकदम डोल्ड्रम्स पे जाएगी। लेकिन इसके बावजूद पाकिस्तान सीखने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। लेकिन इतना ही कह सकते हैं कि 2025 विल बी अ वेरी वायलेंट ईयर इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ पाकिस्तान।
भारत को कैसे इस पूरे मामले पर नजर रखनी चाहिए और भारत का अप्रोच कैसे?
देखिए, जब तक भारत का सवाल है, बलूचिस्तान ये भारतीय सीमा से काफी दूर है और खैबर पख्तूनख्वा तो अफगानिस्तान के बॉर्डर के साथ है, तो इसलिए उनके जो कोई लोग हैं शरणागति के लिए भारत में तो नहीं आ सकते। वो जाते हैं या तो ईरान में या अफगानिस्तान के अंदर, तो डायरेक्टली हमारे ऊपर असर नहीं होता है। लेकिन काफी बार ये किया जाता है कि जब पाकिस्तान इस प्रकार के लोगों के खिलाफ कार्रवाई नहीं करता तो वो भारत के ऊपर आरोप करता है कि ये आपके कारण हो रहा है। अगर बलूची इतिहास देखे तो ये 47 से ये चल रहा है कि जब बलूचिस्तान पाकिस्तान में शामिल होने के लिए तैयार नहीं था, और उसके बाद अगर आप पिछले 75 साल का इतिहास देखें तो 3-4 बार बड़े बलूची उठाव हो गए हैं, अपराइजिंग हुए हैं, जब बलूचिस्तान पाकिस्तान से अलग होना चाहता था, लेकिन वो हो नहीं पाया है। तो पाकिस्तान भारत के ऊपर आरोप लगाता रहेगा कि आप गड़बड़ कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इसके ऊपर उनको कभी प्रूफ ही नहीं मिला हुआ है। लेकिन फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर यह है कि बलूचिस्तान के लोग उनके खिलाफ है, लेकिन पाकिस्तान कुछ चीजें भारत के खिलाफ कर रहा है, क्योंकि दहशतवाद में पाकिस्तान काफी एक्सपर्ट है। लेकिन अभी पाकिस्तान ने अपने टैक्टिक्स बदली कर दिए हैं। अभी जिस प्रकार से वो दहशतवादी सीमा के अंदर भेजते थे, जिस प्रकार से बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट होता था, जिस प्रकार से दहशतवादी हमले होते थे, अभी उस प्रकार के हमले कश्मीर के अंदर भी नहीं हो रहे हैं, बल्कि अभी पाकिस्तान नारकोटिक्स यानी अफू गांजा चरस को भारत के अंदर ड्रोन की मदद से भेज रहा है। तो भारत में नार्को टेररिज्म जो है ये काफी बढ़ेगा, ये आपको समझ में आना चाहिए। तो हमें ये अलग अलग प्रकार का जो दहशतवाद है उसके लिए तैयार रहना पड़ेगा। बलूचिस्तान से कोई आएगा, दहशतवादी आएंगे, ये घटना कम होगी, लेकिन ज्यादा जो है वो होगी आपकी नार्को टेररिज्म।
So as a defense expert, how do you see the BML, hijacking a train and Pakistan army responding and killing off from the military? How do you see the activities happening in the Balochistan?
Pakistani army and Pakistani government has claimed that the operation is successful, in which a lot of Pakistani army soldiers and frontier court soldiers have been killed. Some hostages also have been killed by the Baluchi rebels, and all the Baluchi rebels who had hijacked the train have been killed. So operation is over as far as they are concerned. But does it mean that the Balochistan issue is over? The short answer is no. Because Baluchi rebel, if you see their history of last few months and last about 8 to 10 years, the level of violence in Balochistan is only increasing. The Baluchi rebels are attacking China-Pakistan economic corridor, the Pakistani army post, the frontier corps army post, the convoys of Pakistani army, the Chinese who come to work there, and also the railway attack which took place just now, etc. And not only that, all the Baluchi rebel groups which were earlier functioning independently now have come together and have formed a joint alliance, thereby increasing their strength. Not only that, next to Balochistan is the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, or also called as Waziristan. There, the people there are against Pakistan and they want to join Afghanistan, and Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is an organization based in Afghanistan, is carrying out regular attacks in this area. So the attacks on Pakistani army in Balochistan, in northwest frontier province, is only increasing. And if you see the data, Pakistani army's 50% of the strength is today deployed in carrying out counter-terrorist operations in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa as well as Balochistan. Traditionally, 85% of the army was deployed on the India-Pakistan border, but now that is not the case. Secondly, Pakistani army, when it carries out operations, it uses methods which are very destructive and which causes collateral damage, thereby again ensuring that the local population goes against them. For example, Pakistani army, when they take action against Baluchis, use artillery, which is an area weapon, helicopter gunships, which is an area weapon, air force fighter aircraft, etc. So thereby, while they are able to kill a few Baluchis here and there, but more important that a lot of civilian casualties take place, and the civilian families obviously turn against the state of Pakistan. Today the state is whole of Balochistan, whole of Waziristan is against Pakistani government as well as Pakistani army.